So we reviewed the switches, or at least most of the switches. Now what we're going to look at is how to work with customize easing. So I'm going to take my adjustment layer right here and just go ahead and delete it. Instead, I'm going to work with the motion on my cars again. So I'm going to start out with rotation first, and then we'll do a position one second. We'll see how that affects the two different types of graphs you get through the graph editor. So with my car selected, I hit R to get my rotation property. Let me put in 2 keyframes for my rotation and extend my work area a little bit. So I'll just do a 180 flip for my cars. Good. Now we need to see our graph editor. So our graph editor is going to be right here. And to see the property that you want to see within the graph editor, first thing you want to do is select the property, and then you're going to choose your graph editor. And you can see this line that is representing the motion. And the timeline is going to stay the same. You know, your timing doesn't change at all. It's just going to change the view of your layers to see all those different layers, to see whatever properties you have selected and whatever animations on them. So right now what we're seeing is a representation of what's called linear easing. That means that it has an even disbursement all the way between the keyframes. Go ahead and try apply easy eases on this. And you can do this by either right-clicking, going to the keyframe assistant and choose the easy ease. Or we also actually have the easy eases down here. We have easy ease out, easy ease in, and then our easy ease, which you can see is handles on both sides. So on our first keyframe here, if you select it and then click on the easy ease out, the furthest one to the right, you'll see that it adds the handle in here. That's going to bend the line down. So where it bends down like this, you can think about it this way. So this is time. So right now, more time is being applied than change, and change is vertical. So time, change. So if more time is being applied than change, that means that the motion is going to go slower here and then gain speed as it goes up. Select your last keyframe and apply an easy ease to that one as well. And now you'll see that it's also going to slow down up here. So all the speed's kind of happening right here. Now, up until now, this is all we've been doing with our eases, you know, applying easy ease in, easy ease out, and that's not a bad start. But once you really start getting familiar with it, then you should start doing what's called customize easing. So let's preview this. We can see that it starts out a little bit slow and ends a little bit slow, but let's say that we want it to start a lot slower, go fast, and much slower. All we would need to do is extend the length of these handles. So if I pull the handle out longer, it creates more of an S-curve. The larger the S-curve, the greater the ease in, ease out is going to be. Much smoother looking. If you shorten the S-curve, you're going to get less ease in and ease out. And on the newer operating system, or not the newer operating system, the newer version of After Effects, you can actually even adjust these handles as you're previewing it if you want, which is a nice extra feature. Makes it really easy to understand these topics if you're making changes and you're seeing the changes just play straight through. So this is what's called the value graph, and it should be the default one that shows up. If you're not seeing this throughout here, then you should check this icon right here. If it's set to auto select graph type, that's what you want to leave it on, especially when you're a beginner. You could technically choose edit graph type, value graph, but we'll talk about why you would probably want to leave it on auto select when we look at the next video. So we're getting a good representation. Now this is mainly what you're going to be doing with your eases. You're just going to be changing the length of these handles. There are some situations where you might actually want to change the type of ease, but usually you want ease in, ease out. So for instance, let's see if we wanted to have like what's called a speed in, speed out, which will kind of put the ease in the center instead. To do that, you would just go kind of the opposite direction with these handles. You would go up with this one and down with this one, and they're going to go in the direction that the next one is headed in. So since this is going up from here, and since this one's going in from a downward position, you would put the handles up and down. But they're going to go more vertical and less horizontal. And that's going to cause more change over less time. And then less time for or less change over more time in the middle. So it goes really fast and then it snaps into place. This is good if you're trying to show slow motion. For instance, maybe you have a bird or a bee on the side of the screen and it's going to fly to the other side of the screen, but you want it to seem really fast, but then slow down in the middle and then speed up again. It's good for that sort of situation, but it's much more limited than the regular ease in, ease out. Another option is also what's called back easing. And back easing overshoots past where you need to go. So let's just do one back easing. I'm going to put my my first keyframe as an ease out, and then I'll do an overshoot back easing here. And you want to make sure that it goes at sort of an angle, because if you go straight up with it, it'll be too snappy, like it won't feel too natural. So go at like about a 45-degree angle with your handles on this. So what this is going to cause it to do is overshoot and then snap back. And this is even a little bit harsh, maybe more of like a 30-degree angle. No, I guess this is technically not 30, it's going in the opposite direction, so it'd be like a 1-2-10 or something like that degrees. But anyway, at a lower angle is the key thing. And that'll give it a snap back. This can also be good for anticipation if you put it on your first keyframe. So we can go start in the opposite direction and then snap forward. So take some time, play around with the value graph and either like rotation, or you could also try doing the scale is another good property to work with this on. But get really used to the way that the handles work and how they influence your animation.